Sup everyone, it is I, SPI, and welcome to the first episode of a new Ninjago podcast. This is Podjitsu. I've done Podjitsu in the past, but in this new podcast, I'm going to be bringing on other Ninjago creators and just to talk about Ninjago. And joining me for this episode is the stop-motion YouTuber Brickfilmer125. Brickfilmer, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so very much for having me back. It's great to be back.
Yeah, it's so good to be back. It's been, I think, like 3 years since we did a Podjitsu together.
Surprisingly, that sounds about right. It's crazy how much time has passed, but yeah.
Yeah, for everyone who's been new to this channel, I used to do Podjitsu like way back in the day. I think it was Hands of Time was starting to come out. Me and my friend Luke, we started this podcast. We just talked about Ninjago, and we did it for a year or two, and then I brought it back, I think another year later, and started this concept of bringing on other creators, but I'm bringing it back again. There's been a new Ninjago series that's been on the rise, and it's going to come out, I think, on June 1st. It's called Dragons Rising, and so in this episode, Brickfilmer and I are going to talk about our thoughts on this new show, as well as his stop-motion series.
I am so ready.
I got questions for you.
Really? Okay.
One part of these podcasts are going to be Q&A sessions, having your questions. I love to engage with you guys in the community. I think that's a really important part of a YouTube channel. And I'm so thankful for the many of you who ask questions. These questions have mainly come from my Instagram. It's at SPI Studios Lego, so you can go follow me on there. And they are for Brickfilmer. So if you guys don't know, Brickfilmer has... When did you start your Ninjago series? Was it Hands of Time era?
Yeah. So I started my series all the way back in the very, very prehistoric age of 2017 during Hands of Time. And it was really interesting because I had just, seeing everyone else making, I guess, stop-motion animation, serial-based videos, like DC Nightly Studios, AO123 Productions, those types of guys. I wanted to do that, so I made one, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then I just kind of fell in love with doing it. Yeah,
that was called Time Jumpers, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Looking back on it now, the story wasn't as... It could have been better, but it's not terrible for my first season.
Yeah, that's how first seasons are a lot of the time. But you've definitely improved, and this isn't... I'm not just saying this, like... I do Ninjago stop motion. I have another channel. It's called SPI Studios. It's mainly where I post. I have my own Ninjago series going. But I've actually, I've been really impressed with your animation, especially, on your latest season. This island is, 3 episodes covering, your version of the island. Guys, you need to check this out. Some of these shots, some of just the takes, they're so good. They obviously took you a lot of time. I can tell.
No, that's very, very flattering. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, the first question that I have is from J. Gordon Studio, and it's simply this. And I guess you kind of answered this already, but it's why did you start your incredible Ninjago series? So you said DT inspired you. Who are maybe some other creators, and what are some other things that led to you? Who are some other people that inspired you, and what are some things that led to you starting this series?
I think, apart from the people that I have, or from the 2 people that I did name, Replay Playback 17 was his username, I think. He had very smooth animation, and he was creating a series based on Tournament of Elements. And so I was really astounded with his very smooth animation, and this was very much later down the line. But it kind of pushed me to improve my animation and the visuals overall, as well as other stop-motion YouTubers, I guess, as Brotherhood Workshops.
Oh, yeah.
And he would make a lot of behind-the-scenes videos regarding special effects and how to frame shots and lighting and all of that, and I think that's really played into how I'm able to make this stuff of visual quality as I am now. I think, for the most part, why I've wanted to do my series is it first became kind of just something that I wanted to do because I saw other people doing it. But I also realized that, when you're a kid playing with toys such as Lego, you think of all of these ideas where it's like, oh, what if the dragon comes in here? Or what if the ninja get into this situation? And it really becomes something that I guess kind of speaks to my inner child, and I think speaks to a lot of people's inner child, where the stories that I get to tell through this series, or that I got to tell, I guess, was really fun, because it was like I was a kid playing with Lego, and I could then share that scenario and story with others and bring joy and entertainment to other people, and it was really a great thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really, really cool to hear. Were you inspired like by any like TV shows or movies, anything outside of like Lego YouTube?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I think like a lot of other people, like Marvel movies and Star Wars and everything, had a lot of influence on all the episodes that I made, especially in my Prime Empire season. I think in the finale, I kind of just stole a beat from Age of Ultron, where he rips through his former self, and then he comes out with his vibranium Ultron armor, I think is the part in the movie.
Yeah.
And so I stole that, and I had Unagami rip apart Scott as a big reveal type of thing.
I remember that.
So that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so little things like that, kind of just taking them from other media that have brought me inspiration and being able to put it into the context of Ninjago has been really cool.
That's awesome. Next question I have is from DS Ninja. What do you have planned for your channel's future? And Christian also asks, are you going to be making stop motion on your channel outside of your Ninjago series? So like, what is kind of like the future of your channel? Do you have any ideas for any videos that you want to make outside of Ninjago stop motion?
So that is something I've honestly been asking myself a lot. In the realm of stop motion, at least, I do want to expand a little outside of it. And it really just depends on what I feel like making. I don't think I would ever really abandon stop motion as kind of my main type of video. But I think I would kind of expand past it, talking about video essays or whatever with Ninjago, or even other movies or whatever interests I have. But in the realm of stop motion animation, I do kind of hope to hopefully put out one or two Marvel or Star Wars very light comical spoof videos, I guess is the best way to put it. Like Flapjack's films. I'm not sure if he posts anymore, but along that caliber of video, I would like to make something like that in the very near future, especially with like Guardians and the Marvels coming out. Hopefully I can do something with that.
Yeah, I think my favorite video on your channel, or at least one of my favorite videos, this isn't related to stop motion, but guys, Brickfilmer does like some of these like just funny like short videos, and I think my favorite one that you did was like a Sensei Wu has fallen into the river in Lego City. Like so good. You guys, I'm gonna link it in the description.
Thank you. Yeah, no,
will there be more of those?
I genuinely hope so, because a lot of those are made in the dead of night on a whim that I think it's a funny idea, and I want to be able to share it. And it's very weird, because there's this, I guess in the past 3 or 4 years, my channel has only consisted of high effort, as in I am putting in a ton of effort into these stop motion animations that are of quality, and then they're side by side with these terrible meme posts that I think of at like 2 a.m. and I'm like, oh, this would be pretty funny. And then I post it, and I'm like, I mean, people might not like it, but I got a kick out of it, so I think it was pretty worth spending the time to make it. Hopefully, because it is just random stuff that ends up being a funny gag. I think I posted a short not too recently, but it was Sensei Wu after he gets eaten after he gets eaten by the Devourer. He kind of just like poofs, and then I put a fart noise over it. And like the complex art of that is just it's so deep and so hard to really deconstruct and understand. So yeah, long story short, I do hope to make more of those.
Awesome. Next question is from LM239. He asks, if you did a Crystalized season, what would that have looked like? And would the first Spinjitzu Master have played a role in it? Could we do spoilers for your finale? Because not everyone has seen it.
Not everyone has seen it, but I personally have teased it so much in the thumbnail and in other quote unquote promotional material for the season, as to where it's like I feel like it's been out long enough that it's not too much of a spoiler.
Yeah.
But spoiler warning, I guess, if you value not being spoiled by my series finale. In my series finale, all hope seems lost, and Jay's about to be sacrificed by the keepers of the amulet. And then there's complete silence, and my, I guess, OC-ified version of the first Ninjutsu Master walks in, and he's kind of just like, I think someone in the comments put it as, he's the Thanos of the Ninjago universe.
Yeah.
And I kind of liked that. So, running with that, he was a very integral part, even though he was there for, gosh, the last 5 minutes of my entire series, because he was supposed to be the main villain for my completely scrapped 10th season. That was supposed to be my final season. And I think a lot of people did not, or I think they forgot about it, honestly, but I don't think a lot of people knew that. But he was supposed to be the main villain. So, going back to LM's question, also, hello, LM, I recognize your name and all that. But regarding a Crystalized season, I think it would probably look a little similar to the show. Quite honestly, Crystalized as a season for the official show, I was quite happy with it, except for the second half. The first half I actually really enjoyed. The second half felt very... Right? Exactly. It felt a little rushed, and it felt like it could have been done a lot better, especially using its time a little more wisely.
I'd say I have more of a positive review on Crystalized, I guess, than most people. But...
Oh, that's good. I mean, it's better to, you know, have enjoyed it. Than I guess being a little more cynical than me. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it was bad per se, but there are just some parts, like the whole sequence where they all crash and are separated throughout the city. It just felt like a poor use of time in my eyes. For the most part, whenever I would make a season, I would measure the storyline by what I felt like the show could have done better, which is why like my Oni season revolved around Cole, because they kind of put a focus on Cole, but not really. And so with Crystalized, I think I would have maybe done something similar where the ninja is split up after the Isle, or maybe I did a Seabound season or something in an alternate universe. But I would probably make the Crystalized season a little more, not dark, I guess, but just a little more heavy in tone. It would be really fun though with all the pink lighting and all of that.
For sure.
Yeah. I actually never really spent the time thinking about what the story would look like, but I think it would certainly feature a lot more of, I guess, the Oni-ness coming in from Lloyd. Yeah,
what you were saying about, like, taking what the show didn't do and, like, making a story about that. Like, when I started doing Ninjago series off of, like, the main ninja, because for the longest time I've done my own custom stories about, like, the next generation and the futuristic next I don't know how far it is generation. But now, like, that I'm doing the original ninja, like, in my first season, Return to the Island, I was running into this problem of, like, is there really a story here? Like, if they go back to the island, like, what's the story going to be? So I kind of pulled stories from other Ninjago parts of the TV show. Like, we didn't get to see Zane feeling guilt for being the Ice Emperor, so I did that. Cole feeling forgotten on the Day of the Departed. Like, these would have, like, consequences for the characters, like, in the show. But I think, like, Ruler of the Sea, for me, was really... like, realizing LEGO didn't do this, and they really should have, like, something I really want to see in Crystalized Part 1 was Seabound ends with this devastating cliffhanger, like, Nia's gone, and the King of Merlopia, well, both previous Kings of Merlopia died, so it's presumably now Benthamar, and that was confirmed in Crystalized Part 1, but, I mean, Benthamar, he didn't even say a single line in that season, and that was really... a letdown. So I pretty much took, like, that exactly what you're saying about, like, the show should have had something with Benthamar and Merlopia, and that's what inspired Ruler of the Sea. Yeah, I think that's a really great way to go about storytelling, because you're filling in the gaps, one, that Ninjago itself was not able to tell, but also you can create some really
nuanced and dynamic stories at such a grounded level without introducing new characters or anything. I mean, I know you introduced, forgive me for forgetting their name, but the Shark People.
Yeah, they were back from Students of Spinjitzu Season 2. Like, this is a prequel of them.
Oh, wow.
So, like, Mike and Zach, who Mike Arn Productions guys, he voiced the Shark King. And then CA Zach, he's Zonolith now on his Pokemon channel. He voices Hammerhead, who's one of the villains of Ruler of the Sea. Like, they were in Students of Spinjitzu Season 2. And I did that, like, back in 2018. Like, that was just a story I came up with. It was going to be a whole series, and I have a bunch of villains in Students of Spinjitzu that are, like, they don't have a lot to them because I had bigger stories, but I kind of just put them all in the same season. And so that's kind of how the Shark Kingdom ended up there. And so when I did Ruler of the Sea, I was thinking, okay, maybe I could do like a prequel, like Hammerhead, like the first we see of him in Students of Spinjitzu, he's in prison. What happens there? And in Ruler of the Sea.
Yeah. No, I get where you're coming from. And yeah, I think it's really cool to have that angle, because it's kind of what I guess modern Star Wars is doing.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of filling in the gaps between movies, trilogies, etc. And it's making some good stuff.
Yeah. And getting Mike and Zach back for it, like, when I asked them and they both said they were down, I was like, okay, yeah, I need to do this. This would be a missed opportunity if I didn't. So what was the first Spinjitzu master? I know you said, like, he was going to be the main villain of, spoilers, he was going to be the main villain of the final season. Like, we sort of got, I guess, like a hint of what that looked like, but I guess, like, what would that story have been fleshed out to be?
A lot of it was supposed to revolve around the 2021 sets, because this was
unfortunately
slated for 2021, and obviously that did not happen. But in my actual finale, Aram, or the first Spinjitzu master, talks about what he had planned for Lloyd. Also, like, little side note, like, I had shortened his name to Aram, and also I think I saw people misspelling it, so let me clarify that. It's like Auram, I think, and that's just, I looked up like the word gold in Latin.
Oh, nice.
So I was like, wow, that's a kind of cool thing, I guess.
Yeah.
But no, so his name was shortened because, you know, if I was going to have a whole season with him, I didn't want him to be known as the first Spinjitzu master, and I didn't want people to be calling him like a multi-syllable name, because that is a
good
mouthful.
Point.
Yeah. So that was supposed to be planted in the end of the Isle finale. And so I guess walking through the final season story, it was supposed to be leading in from the Isle finale when he smashes his fist and everything goes flashbang white. It was supposed to be a cliffhanger.
Okay.
And we were supposed to open into the final season, which was supposed to be called Scales of Truth. And I just realized I've never told anyone this. So this is a very niche
breaking
insight
news
to anyone. Exactly.
Brickfilmer canceled
the
series
final
revealed.
Exactly. It's like Lost Archives, Brickfilmer125. But yeah, so the final season was supposed to be called Scales of Truth, and it was supposed to open with the exact same shots, and pretty much I would have just reused footage from my first episode of The Isle, and everything would have just seemed a little bit off-kilter. And Cole realizes that, oh shoot, we're in a time loop. And so Cole has to spend time convincing the rest of the ninja that they're in a time loop and they need to get out. And they end up going to Hiroshi's Labyrinth. Sorry, that's the location. With Borg's Vault. And they were supposed to get the reverse time blade and kind of repel themselves out of the time loop. And that was kind of supposed to kick off the season. And from there, it was supposed to be that in the Isle finale, Lloyd blasts Aram, and Aram gets, like, there's this shot of Aram with gold blood, essentially, and that's like his blood. And it's really appalling for Aram because he is so, you know, he created everything, at least in my little world of Ninjago.
Yeah.
And for him to be damaged by his grandson when he thought no mortal could touch him is appalling and very scary for him. And so that wound takes forever to heal for him. So there was supposed to be kind of a 4-episode arc of him hiring Kalmar and saying, I can get you everything to take back the surface world. Just go distract the ninja while I heal and prepare for battle. And so that was supposed to kind of be a mini Seabound season within the final season.
Yeah.
And from there, it was supposed to take off with, I guess, the first Ninjitsu Master saying, we need to reset the world, because he got really upset. Or, yeah, sorry, I jumped the gun a bit, but the story was supposed to be like Kalmar and the rest of the Mara guards try and attack Ninjago City with Wajira, and then they fail. And so Aram grows really frustrated that he is not healing fast enough, and his one kind of like stalling entity is failing too. So he decides that he's not going to let all the villains win for once, but he wants to reset the world. Pretty much like Thanos, which I think is very funny that the comic compared it to him. Yeah. Because I pretty much followed the same storyline, even though the commenter did not know that that's what was going to happen. And so the final fight was supposed to be at the Golden Peaks. Where Aram was supposed to he was supposed to take this MacGuffin, and I forgot what I called it, but he was supposed to use that device to reset everything. And Lloyd and the first Ninjitsu Master and everyone was supposed to have this large battle, and it was supposed to be full of lots of little fan service, and it would have been a really end game send off. Yeah. But that is kind of what I had in mind. Quite honestly, looking back on it now, it would have been quite crazy to animate. So kind of glad I didn't do that. But yeah, that's the very short end of the synopsis of my lost season.
That's awesome. Yeah,
thank you.
That's pretty cool.
Thank you so much.
I have some questions. One in particular. This is a very important question regarding the Seabound portion of it. With a lot of Ninjago Brickfilmers, I've seen people like taking the Seabound concept, and there aren't as many as there used to be, but they take that concept and they have Kalmar, right? They have the Murray, they have Glutinous. Would you have Gripe in your season?
That's a very important question, because they didn't make a Gripe figure.
Yeah, really I had to paint him. Lego. Why?
Yeah. So I honestly would have done the same. Or I think if I really wanted to just kind of cheap out, I think I made his weapon a little bit bulkier, because I had put Master of the Mountain Armor on one of the Mari guards, and I'm like, that's my Gripe. And then I think I added a piece or two to his sword, and that was kind of just supposed to be it. Nice. Actually, I think Glutinous might have been more like his henchman is what I planned, but I'm not actually too sure.
Yeah. Interesting. What would Benthamar's role have been? Like a ninja ally, or what would
That's actually a good question. Oh, wait. So what was supposed to happen is that first Ninjitsu Master comes in, and he kind of catches Kalmar by surprise, because he just teleports into his room, and he says, I can give you the Storm Amulet and the Wave Amulet, and you can awaken Wajira, and you can reclaim your throne, and you can take back the surface world. So what was supposed to happen is it kind of just follows what the show did. But Kalmar gets this special trident from the first Ninjitsu Master, where it has mind dragon scales that can basically do mind control. And so he basically was supposed to kill his father, like in the show, and then take control of everyone's minds. But then Benthamar kind of avoids the blast, and in the fray of things, he gets away. And he goes to warn the ninja at the monastery after they escape the island. Yeah. And he's supposed to be an ally, basically, but he kind of gives wind to the ninja, and then they were supposed to kind of fight from there.
That's really interesting. That's cool.
Thank you. Yeah. No, it's really great to finally be able to tell this story in a very small capacity, but great nonetheless. It was very hard to grapple with the fact that the final season was not going to happen, simply because I did not have the capacity to make it, nor motivation. But I'm surprisingly happy with how the actual finale turned out, because originally I was just going to cut it off at that flashbang moment, and that was going to actually be the end.
Oh yeah.
But I don't think that would have been a satisfying end for anyone. So to have that final kind of sunset scene and to get a little bit of a glimpse into what was supposed to be is a very, I guess, a good compromise in between the extensive story that I wanted to tell and the normal one that I got to tell. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that's it for the questions.
Thank you so much. Sorry, I've got to just say thank you so much to everyone that asked questions. It's really cool to hear what people want to hear.
Yeah, for sure. Would you like to be a filmmaker? Where can you go to be a filmmaker? Check out Tomorrow's Filmmakers. It's the world's largest online film academy. There's hundreds of hours of different courses in lighting, editing, acting, directing, you name it. There's even a course in LEGO stop-motion animation. It's taught by Matthew Bentler, also known as Brick Bros Productions. I've taken the course myself. I love it. It's definitely helped me to improve my craft at stop motion, so I definitely recommend this academy. And if you use my link in the description, you can get 90% off.
Wow.
What kind of a deal is that? Go down to the link in the description if you have any interest in becoming a filmmaker today. Now, let's get back to the podcast. Okay, one last question from Christian again. What do you like about Dragons Rising? So let's talk about, like, there were a few trailers that came out recently. Just like the premise of it, the new characters.
So yeah, I guess with Dragons Rising, I am very mixed in terms of feelings.
Okay.
I think it's really good that one of the new trailers was about the merge, and that's kind of the central event and theme. And so for them to do that is really refreshing, as in they're able to turn over a new leaf. I think it's really good that Ninjago is able to find a way to turn over a new leaf and remain sustainable, I guess, in terms of not becoming too lore heavy, because I think that is the ultimate direction for Dragons Rising. I'm excited because it's different, and I think it's really cool how they're deciding to introduce new characters, and they aren't afraid to, which is really fun, because I really thought we were going to get the normal 6 ninja Sensei Wu and then tack on like maybe 2 new characters. But
yeah,
the fact that they are, from the looks of it, I guess kind of splitting the team up at least is a bold move, but I'm all for it.
Yeah, it looks like it'll be kind of like a soft reboot. Like as you were saying, like with the merge and everything, it seems like they're going to be rebooting the lore. Like, even just in the Orange short, there was a map and it showed Ninjago, and it's just completely different. Like, it's not the 2 islands that we know. It's, like, all the realms combined, which I like. Okay. I have one gripe, but it's a little selfish, I guess. And it's just that
No.
in my stop-motion series, okay, for Students of Spinjitzu, the Students of Spinjitzu world is very clearly Ninjago. So, Ruler of the Sea, Return to the Island, my Crystalized Season, Crystal Chaos, like, these are all going to set up Students of Spinjitzu. So the merge, unless they, like, go back on the merge, it really conflicts, I guess, with my universe, I guess. But that aside, like, I love the concept. I think it's a really smart move on LEGO's part to do this, like, kind of reset, because if you're like a new fan, like, where do you start? Back to the pilots? Okay, you have 16 seasons, then you watch this one. Like, I feel like they're gonna make it so that new people can just jump in, like, right here. They might make Lloyd the sensei, like Master Wu might die or retire or something, which I wanted that for a long time. I wanted Next Generation for a long time. I've done 3 seasons of that in Brickfilm. Like, it can be done, and I've like wanted LEGO to do that for so long, and they're finally doing that, and it looks awesome. I'm really excited for this.
No, I agree entirely, especially in terms of the lore. Like you said, it's going to be so much easier for kids and any fans to jump in now, compared to, you know, having to sift through 16 seasons. And I think that's honestly kind of where Crystalized got cold feet, because there could have been so much more fan service when it came to having all the villains come back, which I think is a little counterintuitive, because they were bringing old characters back, which means you can reference, you know, older stories, and they did that with that one exchange between Cole and Vangelis.
Yeah.
But that was kind of the only I guess, like, reference to previous lore, and it was upsetting. And so for them to turn over a new leaf and to not be so afraid about people having the ability to jump in, I think is really freeing for them.
Yeah, for sure. And there were a lot of trailers and everything that were released recently. Like, LEGO's definitely doing a better job marketing-wise, especially compared to Crystalized.
Yes.
Like, they even have, like, I think it's a
100%.
countdown timer, right? Like, on LEGO.com for, like, June 1st.
Yeah, I have not personally seen that, but I did see screenshots, and I was very surprised, because LEGO does not seem like the type to push, I guess, in that way for marketing that much. But it's really nice to see.
This is kind of getting maybe into leak territory, but did you see the teaser that was put out? I think it was yesterday, and it was maybe from France. It was another country, and there was like a shot that was new. Like, a lot of the footage in it was stuff that we've seen in other teasers, but there was a shot in it with Lloyd like doing a big tornado. Did you see that?
I did see that.
Okay,
that is really interesting.
People are saying it's the burst, like Lloyd does the spinjitzu burst.
I beg to differ.
Really?
I mean, it very well could be.
What do you think it is?
But like you said, when we're getting into leak territory, the set list leaked a while ago, and the gimmick sets are called like Power Spinjitzu or whatever they're called this time around. So I would assume LEGO wants to do their product placement and call it that, but it could very well be the burst.
Yeah, I guess that would make sense, because again, with this being like a new show, they don't want people to go like, oh, do I have to watch season 13 of Ninjago? Do I have to go back to that?
I think
sense.
This is I think this is a very like side thing, but in the end of Crystalized, then the 4-core ninja kind of lose their powers and they kind of get absolved into the dragon. And they released, I guess, a whole book about finding their powers again.
I read that.
And I didn't realize this until... Was it good?
It is good, yeah. But this isn't a spoiler, because, well, it's in the trailer too. But at literally the start of the book, in the prologue, they spoil this too, where it's just like, the 4 ninja left, like they didn't have their powers, and they mysteriously returned with their powers. And I would have liked it more, I think, if they hadn't told me that at the start of the book. I'm not sure exactly how I feel about like them just suddenly getting their powers too. Like, oh wow, they have their powers back in the trailer. But yeah,
I agree entirely.
Yeah.
No, okay, that is really good to hear that it's a good read. But I didn't realize that in the trailer about the merge, where the ninja are fighting the merge in like their core suits, they're using their powers.
Yeah.
And I that totally skipped my mind until like just today. And I'm like, wow, what was the point? What was the point of that little bit in Crystalized then? But I don't know.
How much do you think the other characters, like how much of a role do you think like the other ninja will have? And even like Lloyd.
That is a great question to ask, because I am curious to see how much they'll play into the story.
And even like people are saying like, where's Jay, Zane, and Cole? Like, I'm pretty sure they're still going to be in it because they're in the sets. I think the leaks have confirmed that. We just haven't seen anything. They're probably not going to be as big as Lloyd and maybe Kai as well.
From the footage that we've seen, it may just be kind of like the prologue footage, but a lot of it looks like it's from Aaron and Sora's perspective, or at least them as the focus. So I think it is going to be really interesting in what capacity most of the ninja are going to play a role, even Lloyd or Kai or Nia. Yeah. Because, it is really interesting and odd, because they're ninja that, are very, very, very well seasoned. And then you're introducing 2 new characters. And I think to balance very well-known characters with new ones and trying to get audiences to like both, it is going to be an interesting dynamic.
The thing that I think people are forgetting about when... Like, sometimes I see comments and people say, like, oh, I love the original ninja, like, I don't want new ninja. But I think the thing people are forgetting about is that originally it was Kai, Jay, Cole, Zane, and kind of Nia. Like, Nia was there, but Lloyd was not there. Like, he was a new character. Even at first, like, people were like, who is this guy? Who's Lloyd? And now he's, like, the biggest character in the whole show. So I think, like, with that in mind, even like Benthamar in Seabound, like he was a huge character in that season, and like the show kind of followed him, and he turned out to be a really great character. Like, for sure, like they could bring in new like main cast members. I don't know why they haven't done it. Like Skylar seemed like she would be one, maybe even like Moro. But it's always been like the original ninja, Wu, Garmadon in a lot of cases, and just the villains of that season. So
I think it's been a lot of trying to balance their roster, because I mean, I think even of like doing stop motion when you have, I guess, like 6+ characters.
Oh yeah,
as your main group, it's hard to give them all screen time.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like I don't blame Ninjago for not introducing new characters sooner. But I think it's such an interesting dance to, I guess, introduce new characters and then at the same time kind of shuffle off some of them. I mean, they did that with like Seabound, and they did it really well with Seabound by giving Kai and Cole kind of like a backseat.
Because Cole just had it. He just had a big season. Like that made sense.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Exactly. But the Dragons Rising is really interesting in how that's like half the cast. And Pixel too. I'm really curious as to where Pixel is.
Yeah, I don't know. And Garmadon, they were setting him up to be a main cast member again. So I don't know.
That I totally forgot. There was that whole part. And sorry, I keep on like totally dunking on Crystalized during this. So any Crystalized fans, I apologize. But before they go up to fight the Overlord, Garmadon's like, "Do you trust me?" or something like that. And Lloyd's like, kind of. And no one else really says that they trust Garmadon. And he becomes really, like, irked by that. And they never pick up on that. They never kind of resolve it. And so people were saying, oh, they might pick up on it in the sequel or the soft reboot or whatever. And that's fine. But if Garmadon's not around, I'm really curious as to how they're... I don't know if they would even finish that little story arc or not.
Yeah, part of that kind of felt unfinished, like, especially with Lloyd turning into his Oni form. And Garmadon, like, faking his death. And, like, after the Overlord was defeated. Crystalized spoilers, everyone. Should have seen it already. Like, it ends with, like, a joke about Garmadon, like, don't look... Oh, you looked at your reflection or whatever. And then it's like, wait, that was the conclusion to that story? Like, the Oni Lloyd?
Right.
The Garmadon dynamic? Like, what? I don't know. But I liked a lot of it, but I'm just wondering how much of a disconnect there might be between Dragons Rising and like anything they've been setting up in Crystalized and Ninjago. Whoops, I bumped my mic. Ninjago has had this problem for a while where they set up a plot and the next season it's just completely different. Like Sensei Lloyd is a good example of this. They set that up in Hands of Time and didn't do anything with that. Took them a while to resolve Jay and Nia, their whole romance.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen to like Garmadon, Harumi, like all these plots. What do you think?
I think the Garmadon and Harumi stuff, I feel like they're not going to really pick up on. Sensei Lloyd, though, they did. I mean, technically, they're going to do that with Dragons Rising.
Yeah.
That one shot with
that's exciting.
Lloyd and Wu's staff. But
do you think Wu's going to die?
It's just, I hope not. I mean, I'm pretty sure somebody said that he's in the bounty, but I could be wrong.
There's a shot in one of the trailers of the monastery, like the new one after the merge.
Oh, I saw that.
And there's a painting of him in there. So he's not there, but there's just a painting on the wall.
I see it as, hopefully, like a faux memorial, because he could just be like lost in time or the multiverse. Or
he gets lost in time again and returns as a baby again.
Yeah. They just play that whole thing over again.
Yeah.
I think ultimately the way Wildbrain did it, or when that was a soft reboot with season 11, where they didn't really reference past seasons past March the Oni, I feel like they're going to do the same with Dragons Rising, where everything is kind of established that the ninja are a team, they were training, something bad happened, in this case the merge, and I guess references won't go past Dragons Rising, I feel like, not even into Crystalized, because they're starting in a whole new world, so I don't think they have a need to dig into past lore, and I don't think they want to either. So, yeah.
What do you think of the new characters so far? Like, we don't know a lot about Sora and Roz, I think his name is, but Aaron, we got like that clip.
So Aaron, I think, is a great character to introduce, because it's another colored ninja, you know.
Yeah, we get sure.
We get closer and closer to completing the rainbow of ninja, so that's fun. He seems like a fun character, and I think to have that same, I guess, dynamic with Lloyd, or being a kid when he was introduced into the season, and then becoming a teen, adult, whatever. Basically, same thing with Aaron, kind of, because we see him as a kid, and then he grows up after the merge. And I think that'll be something for people to relate to, new and old fans alike. As for Sora, I think it's kind of weird that LEGO's doing like another like cat girl furry
yeah.
type design. I don't. It just like her character seems. I'm not sure what she has to offer the story, or kind of in terms of relatability, at least from my perspective. From the trailer, we do see her rearrange her mech into something.
Looks like she has some kind of power with that.
Yeah, and that's cool. But I think, to me, I guess just because we haven't actually gotten like official material on who Sora is, she just like feels like a mishmash of like Racer 7 plus Akita plus, I don't know. It's kind of weird to me. The Raz character, I think, is pretty cool.
Yeah.
He's kind of, I saw somebody said he was like kind of Chima-ish, and that's neat.
Yeah, that headpiece definitely looks very similar to like a Lion Tribe headpiece, but I think like at the end of Chima, there's like the shot of all the other islands that we don't see. Like he could be like some sort of dragon type character maybe.
Honestly, maybe.
I don't know. Because, like, Dragons Rising, I think that might have another meaning. Like, the baby dragon that we're going to get in the sets, like, he's going to be a part of it. So that's one of the dragons. And maybe just dragons is a term for, like, these new heroes are dragons, maybe? They're rising? I don't know. Maybe it's a big metaphor.
I think the dragons... it very well could be.
You know, I wouldn't put that idea down. Yeah. But I think the dragons are, like, somehow commanding forces of the merge, or that's what I felt like. Because I mean, they were introducing. I mean, they're introducing that green dragon that we've been seeing a lot with like the kind of crown assembly. Yeah, and then they brought in the core dragons, which are fun.
Yeah, that's fun
because those are cool to see animated. And also, like the baby dragon. And I think one of the trailers was like it's something about awakening forgotten beasts or whatever in Forgotten Worlds, and
that was one of the like Two Truths One Lie, I think, that one of the creators put out.
Yeah.
But then like to kind of like unfold new lore from that, I think is pretty cool. And so it's weird because quite honestly,
Dragons Rising is starting to, the more I think about it, and I remember bits from the trailer, it is such a mishmash, and it feels like core. But canonized. In the sense that it's like actually canon to the show. And call me cynical, but a lot of it, there was concept art that people were posting about Prime Empire. I don't know if you saw them, but they were for Prime Empire, and they're so much brighter. And so it looks like the merged Ninjago, and I think that's really interesting.
So this is like an old concept they brought back?
So I visually, yes, because in Prime Empire, this is what they had planned originally, and it's so much brighter. There's a lot more grass. You know, in the official Prime Empire, it was a lot more techie looking. But I guess that's what happens when you merge realms, because we see in the trailer, there's also that shot. Yeah, there's also that shot with the villains like being basically dragon hunters and like shooting a dragon with chains, and it's like it's interesting to mishmash those concepts, but it also kind of feels like we're treading on already walked ground.
Yeah, I've definitely been getting Prime Empire vibes from this, with just like the future aspect kind of it. And there's like a mech race, reminds me of the Speedway 5 billion. I think they even don't they use the same music in one of the
I think so.
Yeah, and Scott's voice actor is the guy narrating.
Yeah, I'm kind of a fan of that, because before the Oni trilogy, the Ninjago trailers always had like some suave voice narrator with like a deep voice. And so if they're bringing that back with the Scott's voice actor, I'm so for it.
I wonder if he's going to be a character in it. Maybe not necessarily Scott, but his voice actor.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
I could totally see that happening.
Also, they had like, there's some shots of the Cloud Kingdom, which...
Yes.
That's really interesting, because the Cloud Kingdom is the place where they write Destiny. So if that place is connected with Ninjago and people can just get in there, and like also would they have known about the merge? I don't know. There's a lot of questions that are raised because of that.
No, exactly. I think it is really neat how they are digging into some of that lore. I guess that goes back in my previous statement. With the merge, they are kind of digging back on very, very previous lore for Ninjago, which is cool. With like the rock monsters from the Forbidden Realm, and his Cloud Kingdom as well. That is really fun to see as an old time fan.
Yeah, there's even a Merlopian somewhere.
I think it's really interesting with the ninja that they decided to pick.
Yeah.
because to pick, I guess, Kai, Nia, and Lloyd, it makes sense why they kind of chose Nia, because she's like the only girl ninja, and I think to have that kind of like diversity, it makes sense. And Lloyd makes sense, and just Kai as well. It's really weird because Lloyd and Kai are like such
icons.
Such star icons out of the ninja team, and so like to put the two most popular ninja in one party, assuming they're doing like a split party hunted type thing, is kind of interesting, because that means the other party is going to be like not terrible with the other ninja, but
do you think there's going to be another story like following the other ninja, like hunted style?
So with their 22-minute format that they're going back to,
that's
and all
that's
that,
right.
Which is it's very fun to hear that. I am excited for that, because hopefully that means they're able to produce better stories.
Yeah,
the
definitely.
lengthier time. I think it's going to be more of like they have to find all of the ninja and get the team back across the merge.
Oh yeah,
because for them to do a hunted thing seems really cool. But I think also like they might want to focus on Eren and Sora, and so like to take away the focus would mean to do a hunted thing.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, and maybe they're captured by the people. Yes,
maybe.
There was another thing that I was gonna say. There's a shot where Raz, I think his name is, like he's jumping down. He has like a hammer weapon, and he's like blasting back like Eren and Sora. But he's also like hitting the guy that we thought was Crux, but he's actually Raptor, I think his name is. Rapton.
I could be totally wrong.
So it seems like there's going to be like villains that aren't on the same side, which I like. I think that's a really good dynamic. If like you have all these worlds that all come together, like you would have so many people on opposing sides. Like not everyone would embrace that. They'd be like, what's going on? And there'd be some people that would want to take over. And yeah, I mean, it's just a really cool concept. And I definitely like the idea of like just multiple villains.
No, I agree. I think it adds so much more, chaos and conflict to the story. And it's great. I think overall, I am very excited for Dragons Rising as a new chapter for Ninjago.
For sure.
Some of the choices kind of seem a little bit scary to be making, but they're really going for a little bit more of a reboot than a soft reboot. During the Wild Brain era. So I am looking forward to seeing what they're gonna do.
Yeah. Well, do you have anything else about Dragons Rising?
No, I think I've kind of expended my thoughts. I do want to say though, thank you so very much for having me on.
Yeah,
me talk about my series and Dragons Rising. It's and it's really, really a joy to talk about what I have done in the past for however many years, and also about Dragons Rising, because it is a new chapter for Ninjago and the community in general, and I really hopefully it reinvigorates the interest of the general public in the franchise.
Yeah, it seems like it's doing that so far. It seems like it's bringing back some hype.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Anyway, thank you guys for watching or listening, and let me know down in the comments, which Ninjago creator would you like to see next? Maybe Brickfilmer, I can have you back sometime if you want.
Oh, of course. No, of course.
And yeah, without further ado, I don't really have like an outro for this show, because this is very new, because it is Podjitsu, but it's also like a new Podjitsu. Podjitsu Rising.
The new. Exactly.
All right. Any last words, Brickfilmer?
I guess just thank you to the people that asked the questions, and thank you for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, guys, for asking the questions and watching this episode. Hope to see you next time.